were one of my very first followers. And then when you followed me and I, followed back, I was like, this dude is cool. Like,
if they say talk to your manager, you just say, you know what, talk to the hand. You don't need to be on my podcast. But yeah, dude. Yeah, you do a great job.
Thank you. I always get a kick out of talking with you on Patreon. You have a really good, view on everything.
That wasn't planned.
You know what? But I like this Canadian.
Well,
this one.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
What's up, everybody? Good morning. Happy Monday. I don't know about y'all, but I am back on the hamster wheel. Which is work. But it was a heavy Big Brother weekend between the episode yesterday, which was great. I loved the episode, and the live feeds. Sleep has been minimal, but as last year was my first season as a live feeder and the first season that I covered live feeds. It wasn't the first time I watched live feeds, but it was definitely the first time I covered live feeds. I knew that this season would be an investment, but I'm here for it. Yesterday was the first day that I lost sleep really watching Big Brother. I was up until, gotta be 5 o'clock in the morning. I got off my live since 12 something, I think, and I didn't go to sleep until 5, as you can hear. What was I gonna say? If anybody is looking for that video of the recap and live feeds that I did yesterday, you're not gonna find it because that video is blocked. I don't know how they pick and choose what they block. I tend to have seen that they usually scan for footage that they're going to put on the show. So if you happen to catch a couple of conversations that end up on the show, those usually get blocked. But as you can see, it's done at random because I have some live feeds that are still up, some that they take down. So what I did, because I didn't want to lose that whole great recap that I was doing. So what I did was I took the recap and cut out the live feed part of it because the recap was almost half an hour. And I didn't want to lose. I didn't think it was fair to lose a whole half an hour recap for the live feed part of it. So I just cut out the live feed part, kept the recap, re-uploaded it. So if anyone missed it or if anyone got on late, you can actually go in and watch that. I have some morning updates on all the stuff that I saw in the live feeds. And to be honest, you can go on Twitter or you can find some other pages, that will give you a play-by-play. I can tell you, I literally probably watched 4 hours of live feed. And that was because Paramount Plus, I just discovered, has this chat room that I never realized was there before. So I just happened to start typing in the chat room, and then I was like, this is hilarious. And I just lost track of the time. But my whole point of saying that is this group loves to repeat the same conversation over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Like, you can watch them for 4 hours and not one new thing has come out of the conversation. And they keep repeating the same old thing. Like it's brand new. I'm looking at you, Reilly. So the gist of what Reilly kept repeating all night is that she's had to lie to 9 different people. Basically, she's saying the people that are outside of her 8. She was like, I'm not a liar, but it's been so hard for me because of by virtue of the fact that I've been HOH. She was crying. I've had to field all these conversations, and people are asking me questions, and I've had to keep lying. And then her group is shaky right now because they have been playing a game, right? And I'll give them credit for getting getting like multiple alliances, building up her 8, her 5, her 3, all that good stuff. But she's not paying attention. She was not paying attention to the other side of the house. They just had this weird assumption that they were going to work together. The other side was not going to figure it out, and that they were just going to knock off those people one by one by one by one. No, it's one thing to make your alliances, but it's another thing to be aware of what's going on the other side of the house. And really, their side, whatever they're called, I forgot what their 8 is called, is filling in the Cerise side on everything that's going on. They're just now starting to realize that not only does the Cerise side know of their 8 already, they're like, wait a minute, I think that they're forming their own. I just thought that these people were just floating around and sitting around. Cameron was killing me yesterday. Cameron and like 4 of them, 5 of them were in the HOH room together. And Cameron was just like, guys, we got nothing to worry about. They just started playing the game. We have been playing the game since day one. So of course they're going to have a reaction to us playing the game. But that's just, the way the game goes. We've been playing since day one and they just started playing. He was giving this like rambly speech. And I'm like, they didn't just start playing the game. That's the funny part. You guys just started realizing that there's 2 different games being played. Y'all thought you were the only ones playing the game. And he's like, I'm the only hope to talk to the other side and gather information from the other side. And I'm like, where is it? I don't understand. If there's one thing that this season is, it's entertaining. There's a lot of people who want to be chiefs that basically don't know how to play Big Brother. It's clear. I don't care if they said they watched it before. Like, you can see how they maneuver in the house. They have no idea what they're doing. It's Big Brother. Yeah, exactly. Up early. Game is afoot. It is definitely a dangerous mentality. My old page name was Music and Mental Health, David. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. The professors. Late into the night, a group of them were talking in the room. Izzy, Sari, Felicia, Mimi, Hassam, Red, and Bowie. Izzy, they decided that they were going to form an alliance, the 7 of them. Izzy said, we should name that alliance the Professors because we're taking everybody to school. And I was like, that's interesting. So I was looking at that alliance and comparing it to the alliance that they already had and realized that it pretty much is the exact same group, except it doesn't include Jared, but it adds Red in there. And of course, I know that Sari being in this group, Jared is going to know about the group because she's going to tell him, obviously. And Sari is pretty much just like, I know the way that she's thinking. This just gives me an extra little level of assurance. The fact that they are so confident week 1 is a bad sign. It is. That's why I can see the Reilly side imploding because they don't seem to know that this is a long game. This is such a long game, and their game is going to be 100 days. So it's like, man, you guys, and they already seem to be losing it. And I think we're day 5 or something like that. They got a long way to go. They got a long way to go. So yeah, Reilly, I have on here that Reilly was talking in circles, which I mentioned. Jag and Reilly started to talk about Izzy. They were already talking about Corey. They were already talking about Luke, but they started to talk about Izzy and how they want Izzy out because Izzy is dangerous and potentially forming an army. But they're good with Sari somehow. They're worried about Izzy, but Riley's talking about she feels good about Sari. I just find that so funny. Like, I don't know what special secret voodoo that Sari is putting on them that makes her less of a threat to them than Izzy. That's wild to me. If I were them, I would before I even band together, before I even did like this whole 8-person alliance or whatever, I would be like, yo, we need to get Sari out. But I guess on the other hand, somebody was mentioning it in my comment section yesterday. They said Sari is the type of person who, if you take a shot at her, you better not miss because then you're going to be on her target list. So that's probably it too. Like these guys, sometimes collectively, I feel have the big brother IQ of a peanut. So they wouldn't know how to concoct that type of move. And it would have to be a back door for sure. Sari's not going out through the front door. There's no way. It would have to be a back door. And so far, like, I don't get that out of these people. Even the ones that say they're super fans, you have to have the ability still to read the room. And you have to have the ability to be self-aware, aware of your surroundings, aware of the people around you. They just feel like, oh, let's concoct this super team. When I hear them talk about the team, when I heard them talk about constructing that team early on before they solidified the 8, and I'm talking about the side that Riley's on, of course. They were like, okay, so we're going to have myself, which is Reilly, Jag, and Blue. The 3 of us are going to be like our final 3. And then we need to get some jocks around us. And the jocks are going to help us win some competitions. And then we need a couple of smart people. Like they acted like they were like sports team owners drafting a team, try to take them to the finals. And I'm like, you have to actually talk to all these people, form relationships with them, assess their strengths and weaknesses. You can't just be like, oh, such and such is a strong player, so we need him. If I'm not mistaken, they tried to do that with Hassam or Haitham. I heard them calling him Haitham yesterday. They trying to make Miami. They even got a Reilly. Not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. That's a basketball reference for those who don't know. The Miami Heat. They're trying to make a super team. Except the problem is Big Brother doesn't work that way. You can't just look at somebody on paper. You can have the best person that is supposed to do such and such, but if you didn't check their character and see how their story lines up, it could be more rat for the other team sitting on your team, just feeding all the information to the other team. Jared. Jared is on both teams, but he's obviously on the team that his mom is on. But Reilly has him included as part of her 8, which is hilarious because she doesn't realize him being on the other team for real makes them outnumbered. It's like how everyone Alyssa was a comp beast. Woman won nothing. Exactly. And how about Reilly calling herself a comp beast after one comp win? I like Mama Faye. Mama Faye is hilarious. But not just that she's hilarious. If you listen to her talk, you're like, why in the world? I think that if Reilly had included Mama Faye on their team, I know that they're thinking, oh, she's not going to win any comps. I mean, first of all, she could win some comps. Probably not the endurance ones, of course, but she could definitely win some memory comps, or she could win some, some of the brain competitions. But having her on your team, she's very smart and she's a super fan. So she's having all these, Sari recognizes that, and she's having all these conversations with Sari. She's talking to Sari about the potential competitions that are coming up or things in the house that she needs to be memorizing. Like, Sari kind of knows you can't go into war without knowing your weapons. So she's kind of been listening to everybody and figuring out what everyone's strengths are and basically using them for whatever those strengths are. Whereas Reilly and Jag and Blue and them have been more focused on how do we just rally the most numbers to make sure that we outnumber the other team. So basically, now we're at a point where LOL on the ball. Listening is the key. Exactly. And I was saying that all these strong talkers that they have so far are just they're gonna fizzle out rather epically, in my opinion. They are going to fizzle out of this game. There's some people that are in the middle that have just been listening, such as America and Mimi, and to an extent Matt. Those are people that I've noticed that have not been doing a lot of talking. They've kind of been listening. And the bigger people, the people that want to be the bigger people is what I'm trying to say. The ones that are like, I'm the biggest threat. I want to make a name for myself. Everyone's scared of me, blah, blah, blah. The big people will take shots at each other. Izzy is looking to make big moves. Reilly is looking to make big moves. Jag is looking to make big moves. They're not aiming for people like America. They're not aiming for Mama Faye. They're not aiming for the people that nobody's talking about. So if you're one of the people that's in this house so far that they're like, oh, I'm not worried about this person at all, they're not a threat, you're in a good position. You are in a good position if they do not consider you a threat at this point of the game. If I get in the house, everybody's a threat. I mean, if I was in the house, that's what I mean. Not if I get in. I would never go in. But if I was in the house, everybody is a threat. I would just be assessing, are you a level 10 threat? Are you a level 2 threat? Are you a level 5 threat? Even somebody like an Alyssa that can't win competitions, she's a threat to expose alliances and to jump from group to group. Like, she's some kind of threat. Everybody that gets in the house is some kind of threat. And it's not about floating early. Yeah, floating is bad. It, like, the true definition of a floater is somebody who connects himself with nobody. And they're just in every room, every conversation. But they're not really talking any game, or they're just taking in everything. They're taking in information. But you can be like a strategic kind of floater where you're floating to an extent, but you are still leaning towards some people over others. You just have not yet fully committed. I would not go in, David. I bet you would. That house would drive me nuts, man. Like, you got to talk game without talking game. Yeah, like you're talking the game, but you're not firmly committing to, I'm definitely a part of this alliance or that alliance. You know, you're kind of loosely talking about the game. And also, I'm watching these people be like, you're my number one, you're my person. I remember a couple of days ago, Corey said to Reilly that you're my person, and Reilly has been doing nothing but dragging that man. Hissam said to Izzy, you're my person. She said, you're my person too. Izzy had a conversation with Mimi yesterday. She said to me, Mimi, I'm not really in a partnership with Sari. You're my number one. And Mimi said, oh, I'm glad that we had this conversation. You're my number one too. I'm like, they are making, don't make so many promises. That's the other part about Big Brother. Like, you can talk to somebody, you can form multiple bonds with multiple different people, but you can't say that 4 people are your number one. You can't do that. You can't make 5 final twos. Like, those kind of things come back to bite you. I feel like you can make one of each of those, one legitimate one. And you have to have somebody you can trust in there. Cody and Derek always talked about that. They're like, you have to have 1 or 2 people that you really trust, and you have to be able to tell that person or people most of the truth. You have to be able to tell those people most of the truth. Because if you're sitting here telling everybody multiple different things, and there's nobody that's like, feels like you're really the one who's going to go to the final with them, it's going to blow up on you at some point. No, they're not doing okay. None of them. Izzy's like crying. Reilly is crying. People are cracking already. They're not sleeping. They're not eating well. No, this group, I feel concerned. I feel concerned early about their ability to stand the test of time. Not 12. Remember the ginger kid from a few years ago who did that? I think his name was Tyler. He did what? Oh, yeah, I think, yeah, that I know what you're talking about. I saw a black woman and another person who were crying, talking in the. Yeah, it's definitely looking bad. They're getting paranoid. I wonder what this person is doing. I wonder what's going to happen with this. I wonder if this person wins, what's going to happen. Reilly thinks she's going to go up next week, which he could. Reilly could go up this week if somebody from the other side of the house wins HOH. And Hissam. They're talking about Hissam is crazy because he was up having all these different conversations, studying all the different parts of the house. I don't think that he's any worse than any of them. I think they're all kind of I think they're all kind of leveled out. So that's my update. Because I don't want this thing to happen again where my whole video gets taken down, I think I'm going to do the live feeds separately from my recaps. I'll do a recap and then I will close the video and open a separate video to do the live feeds. And in the event that they keep blocking my videos, I might have to just cut out doing that altogether, unfortunately, but the live feeds are always available for y'all to view on Pluto TV now. They're free. If not, they're on Paramount Plus. What else? Yeah, that's about it. The house guests apparently went to bed at about 4:30 Eastern time, the last ones. And they usually get up. They so far have seemed to be getting up about 11 or 12. It's possible if I get a chance for a break at that time, I will throw on a feed at that time. I'll definitely be giving you guys a lot of updates throughout the day. Check my community page. I put up quite a few updates last night, and I will put up more throughout the day as I see it. The Big Brother season is here, y'all. All right, have a good one.
So you literally were one of my very first followers. And then when you followed me and I, followed back, I was like, this dude is cool. Like,
If they say talk to your manager, you just say, you know what, talk to the hand. You don't need to be on my podcast. But, yeah, dude. Yeah, you do a great job.
Thank you. I always get a kick out of talking with you on Patreon. You have a really good, view on everything.
That wasn't planned.
You know what?
Thank
But
you.
I like this Canadian. I
Well,
like this one.
well, thank you. I